hit that like. We're about to start. Give me some likes. Let people know we're here. That's how they would know. Subscribe, all that other stuff I'm supposed to say. Damn it. All right. Almost there.
Heard that Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat
I know.
the Burmese executives. So these Burmese, they say, pronounce it Burmese.
I'm looking up one more thing and then I'll be right there. Ahem. Are we here? Are you there, people? People, show me that you like it. Show me what you like. Hit the likings. Okay, 3 and 2 and 1. There we are. Hi, everybody. Oh gosh, and why in the world? I don't know. This must be just a variation on my. Let's see. Should be live on Instagram. Unfortunately, in Instagram. Where am I? Where did I go? There I am. I I have shrunk down in, all right. Studio mode, so go over here, and then we do the, and me and the thing, and for some reason, control this, no, this thing, no, I'm only partially there in the, what in the Sam Hill is it going on? Turn that off and turn this back on. Then maybe, I don't know, maybe this. My, somehow I am missing on the Instagram shot right now. Something very odd is occurring. Where am I? Where have I gone? It's some very strange aspect of this whole thing is happening. I'll work it out. People on Instagram who are very confused. I'm one of you. You can hear me, but that's not nearly enough. It's just invisible me. It's not gonna, it's not gonna work. Okay, so I will, let's just try adding myself back in, maybe. Okay. There I am. Now I'm back in the scene. Aren't you excited? I'm in the wrong place, but whatever. Okay. Fixed, and I'm on Instagram right now. Excellent. Now, back to wherever we were. Turn off studio mode and back to where. Okay. It was such a very strange thing. It's not even, it doesn't even matter. Can't find the Facebook stream. Maybe that's what's messing with me. Someone's screwing around with my entire proposal. What in the absolute hammered hell is going on here? Hi chat room, by the way. Hello. Oh, look at that. I'm stuck in the chat part of this where, yeah, so what is happening? With the chat version of this. So I've got to just fix all these. Oh, that's fun. So all my vertical scenes are all screwed up today. So we'll just add a new me in every one of them. I'm just gonna patchwork through this while no one on the regular stream knows what the hell is going on. I will just go in and fix everything in the chat. There you are. It's totally fine. And I'll put me down here behind me thing. And then now you can see the chat room is above me on the Instagram feed. That seems fine. Hello. Everybody's like, well, you liked it better when you weren't blocking our view of ourselves. And then, of course, we'll have to go to our window to talk about stuff and see stuff, which is, of course, this one right here, where I'm clearly, yes, I will be gone again in that one on the Insta and the Gram, so I will fix that as well, and then we'll be ready to roll. Boink. Yay. Terrific. Okay, I'll shrink myself down even further so that I'm not in the way of what we're actually trying to look at. Whoops. I put myself behind. It's great. I hid myself. All right, there we go. Now, obviously, lots to talk about. Let's go back to chat room. Hi, chat room. There you guys are. And a little sneak peek that if you'll notice, Trump came out and talked about the border. Sorry, not the border. The jobs numbers today, because they were terrible, terrible. Even though they were up, they weren't up as much as people thought they should be up, largely because, again, I talked about this last fucking week. I don't know why it takes everybody forever to catch up, for fuck's sake. But we had, I think, the lowest number of unemployed people to job openings. The ratio was the lowest it's ever been. It was 1.3. There were 1.3 humans for every one job that's open. And this might be shocking, but there's not a one-to-one alignment with jobs that need filling and people there to fill them, as far as intellect qualifications, education, skill set. That might be weird. There might be a shit ton of academic jobs open and a bunch of gas station attendants who are looking for work, and vice versa. There might be a bunch of gas station attendants, a bunch of academics who can't figure out how to pump gas and aren't going to take a job like that, and they're not going to you're still going to end up with unfilled jobs and people not working. Do you understand how you get, once you get under 4%, that's where a lot of your unemployed that's a good 1.5. It's stagflation. It's totally stagflation. All the male deer are gaining weight. Netanyahu is bad. Putin is worse. I agree. Yeah. I will add something on top of that. Netanyahu is bad. Putin is worse. And none of these protesters on either side give a rat fuck about Sudan. I'm just gonna be okay with being the only person to bring that shit up on the regular. Okay? Am I gonna be? I've been scouring the news trying to get people to talk about Sudan and bugging them about it on social media. And I mean, referentially, I can only talk. I don't have like I'm lucky I have Phil in Ukraine to talk about the shit while everybody bugged off to Israel and Gaza, right? But I mean, I would love to have anybody who knows someone who's around Sudan, Darfur, any of that area who'd like to come on the show and talk about it. I would love to have you, if you pass that on. If we could have the equivalent of a Philip Ittner, because there's no Jews there. Yep, you might be onto something. That's at least why the TYT crowd don't give a shit. Oh shit. Okay. Now, what's the other thing that we hear from the right wing besides blather from Trump and all that kind of stuff? And because I'm not going to do this whole clip because it's too long and it's not worth doing or whatever. But because I think the greatest thing about there is the lack of news about this. There is a certain group of human beings in our political spectrum. The people I would call the faux-gressives, certainly the Freedom Caucasians qualify in this regard as well. The fringes, as it were, where progress itself is the problem. Oh, hi to your sister Wendy. Yes, hi, Wendy. Hello, Wendy, Tabitha's sister. Hello. Hi. I don't know if it's a birthday or no, it's not your birthday. Just a hello. Okay, fine. But when your birthday comes, please have a happy one. So, real quick, if I may, there is a group of people, and Trump is one of them, certainly, because the border bill came up for a vote, and there are crucial aspects of it. And you'll recall that Biden was going to do I think about a week and maybe 2 weeks ago at this point, there was going to be this thing where he was going to shut down the border, see what he could do legally. And they're still in the process of doing that. But in the meantime, news about the border has somehow dried up. Now, that's twofold. One is we're heading towards a dip in crossings because of the heat. As the heat expands and the weather is difficult, fewer people try to make their crossing. The other thing is that there's already plenty of funding going down there via the infrastructure bill, the rescue package, and the National Defense Authorization Act. All three which passed with everything Biden asked for, and therefore there's shit tons of funds. No, shit funds going down. I'll just call it that. Going to the border, and so a lot of it's being handled. Okay, so there we go. Now, in this, coward Sparks, what are you talking about? I'm standing here by my name, by the way. I will like you. This is my face, and these are my words, and that is my name. And online, whenever you find me anywhere on Shitter, on Facebook, and all these things, you'll see along with it me standing by what I say. Okay. I don't have a fucking anime picture of that doesn't look like me and or some fake account and all this. Nope, I'm me. I think they meant to say Howard Sparks, but either way, it doesn't matter. Okay. TYT strong. TYT's wrong. We'll go with that. But anyways, so point being is I'm not the only one that this has occurred to. Apparently, Joey Pags is very upset that the border battle needs an update. No, and look, here, hold on, let's go. No news on the border. Yeah. So let's see if they're recognizing that the stuff that the Biden administration is doing is actually working, even without the funds and stuff that they were going to get, and that Republicans, even when there is still a problem and still the issues that need to be handled down there. Republicans don't want to talk about it anymore because they voted against the bill. There's a reason why Trump is saying migrant crime and not saying close the border and the border and the border and border as much as he used to. Because every time he brings it up, everybody reminds him and everybody around him that this dumb motherfucker told everybody to vote against the bill. So here we go. This is with Victor Avila and Joey Pags.
Great to have you along for the ride. Thanks a lot for stopping.
That's not true.
By. Glad to have this man back. He's a retired special agent with ICE HSI. It is Victor Avila. Victor, how are you? Good to see you.
I'm doing good, Joe. Thanks for having me back.
You're very welcome. Also, former candidate for Congress. Maybe next time. But
yes, that as a matter of fact, I think for most Republicans, I would, if you're going to invest in a bumper sticker for your campaign in the next cycle, maybe next time is probably the best bang for your buck as far as printing out a bumper sticker. Just saying. Just if you're gonna run this year following Donald Trump, destroying women's rights, and fucking up everything he touches, I think maybe next time is the hashtag that the GOP owns. I like it. I don't know about you guys, but I think that's got legs.
we're going to talk about a guy that is running against the guy who's the incumbent in just a second. But I'm really glad to have you on. When I talked about having you on today, my wife said, "Thank you for having Victor back."
Oh, did she? Really? She brought him up. She wants to hang out with him. That's interesting. Very bold, very open.
Because nobody's talking about the border.
Huh. Why is nobody talking about the border? All I've heard is it's wide open. So maybe it's just boring at this point. There's just so many people flooding across. It's hard to even pick a story.
Victor, why isn't anybody talking about the border? Suddenly.
Yeah. Why isn't anybody talking about the border? Like even Republicans who voted against the border bill.
We've got all these protests. Suddenly we're talking about the economy. Suddenly we're talking about Ukraine.
Suddenly? Suddenly. Where the fuck have you been? Suddenly? We're talking about the economy now, post-COVID. It's coming up. We're talking about protests on college campuses. Suddenly? Dude, it's been fucking weeks. Suddenly we're talking about jobs? We talk about jobs every month.
Nobody's talking about our open border. Why?
Because it's not open?
Because the cameras went away, and for some
the cameras went away, and they won't. And if it bleeds, it leads. And obviously, there's not enough blood at the border.
reason, because the cameras went away and the numbers dipped.
You guys heard that, right? Real quick, if I may, I think it's the other way around, right? I think there might have been that the cameras didn't. So maybe the cameras are the problem.
Suddenly we're talking about Ukraine. Nobody's talking about our open border. Why?
Because the cameras went away, and for some reason, because the cameras went away and the numbers dipped,
you might be onto something. So the cameras go away, and I'm just spitballing here. Let's say you're trying to get Trump reelected, and one of the only things you can run on is a redux of the border again. You're trying to do this whole bullshit over again. It worked the first time, and he's selling the same shit, except the some of them are nice people part. You're throwing that out, obviously. But for the most part, this motherfucker just said it, ladies and gentlemen. He just said it. So let's say you're trying to get Donald Trump reelected, either with money from inside the United States, or you're a foreign entity that really wants Donald Trump back in there, like Russia or China, for example. And you got to spend your bucks where it'll do the most good, either the most damage against Biden or the most positive for Trump at this point. And then the cameras went away. So you can spend all this money with people going across, but unless people see them, these are largely economic migrants and asylum seekers who aren't going to do any harm to anybody. So all they're going to come across and do is get a job permit and work and turn out to be okay. So they're not scary unless they're a fucking horde. So once the cameras go, then the numbers go down. curious, wouldn't you say? It's almost as if it's entirely fabricated. It's almost as if there were, during the Trump administration, when he was trying to get the wall built and he couldn't get the funding from Mexico, and it wasn't happening, that those caravans they were threatening us with, oddly enough, there were ads running in South American newspapers and magazines that you could travel through, and there were resources to get you through there and all that kind of stuff, and those ads were being placed by Republican activists. It's almost as if that strategy has petered out.
The problem went away? Absolutely not. The problem is as bad or worse, except that you're not seeing it because no one's reporting it. You're absolutely
Okay. It's not worse if the numbers are down. If the numbers are down, I don't give a shit how many cameras are there. You can't chase a tornado that's not there. You can't measure an earthquake that isn't happening. It's always better when there's not a tornado and an earthquake. So if the measurement is not showing that, then I don't give a fuck whether somebody is standing in a field with a camera or riding in a truck with Helen Hunt looking for one. There's no tornado, and if there's no earthquake damage because there hasn't been an earthquake, I need somebody walking around filming windows to see if they're broken or walls to see if they're cracked if there never was one. So fuck you. This is garbage.
right.
Is that too heavy-handed an analogy? Is that too?
Right. They're averaging about 1,200 a day in El Paso, Texas alone, and about 8 to 10,000 throughout the border there in Arizona and California. And I told you this before. The reason they stopped it or slowed down dramatically in Texas.
They slowed down dramatically in Texas. Yeah.
Is a combination of things, but one
combination.
It's really the deal that the Biden administration made with Mexico. You're seeing that deal in effect right now, where I'll scratch my back and I'll scratch yours, and that's exactly what's going on. Mexico's trying to get their president elected, the new one, the female that's on top of the polls there in.
Yeah, the female. They're trying to get the female that's on top of the polls there. Yeah, her.
June, and of course Biden is trying to get this thing to go away, and they struck a deal, not a deal that you and I would struck with Mexico, but nevertheless.
What, to have them do something about illegal immigration, both crossing their territory and crossing into ours? I don't know. It sounds like something a female on a pole would do.
That's why you see the Mexican government actually detaining and stopping a lot of the illegal aliens coming through Texas, which only tells me, Joe, that in fact Mexico can do it when they want to.
Well, then why are you're alleging that they're not doing it in Arizona and California all of a sudden? Why just Texas? Why? What does Trump, think he's going to lose Texas? So he's just like, fuck it, let's scare Arizona now?
Well, I want the people watching and listening to understand that deal, if I remember, was basically wink and a nod. I've got to get.
Yeah, you remember, right? It was a wink and a nod, with the lady on the pole.
Reelected. So let's calm things down, because the day after Election Day, should Joe Biden get reelected, God forbid, should that happen, the day
it's gonna happen
after the gates open again, don't they?
Why? What gates? What are you talking about? I'm dead serious. Why would they open it right after he wins? What people, why do they even fucking need, if they win without the people that are supposedly, if they're flooding the country with voters for the future, and that's the whole point, and they don't need them to get elected, why the fuck would they open them just to undermine the middle class in the United States? What are they trying to do? Just suck some of the workforce out of Mexico, maybe? Maybe that's what this is about.
It's that deal is null and void, and they're going to be coming. And the thing.
Yeah, totally. They're not now, and it's an effective strategy, and it's working, and Jesus Christ. So anyways, they ramble on about this for another 16 minutes, but you get the point that the cameras tend to have an impact on the crossings, because the crossings are largely manufactured for the cameras, including that whole bunch of people storming through that chain link fence and running up to the wall, and then Fox News was cutting it right before they got to the gate, and where they said, you can't come in, get the fuck out of here. And those people all got arrested anyways for assaulting National Guard troops. And then after they were arrested, they were deported, right? Yeah. So, yeah, that's one of their biggest concerns. The other concern, and I don't know if you know this, but there was an anti-Semitism bill passed. We talked about a little bit of Glenn Beck's panic about this. And you'll be shocked, I'm sure, to find out that Chip Roy is very upset. This is Dinesh D'Souza, I guess, posted this. Wow. Must be talking about Gettysburg. Wow. Chip Roy slams hate speech bill propped up by GOP leadership. Just disgusting. They're propping this hate speech. Hate speech on campus again, where you're not allowed to allow for hate speech on a campus if you're going to get U.S. funds. Now, if you're Liberty University, you might be worried because you want government funding while preaching that government is evil, and you want government funding while violating the Constitution, and forcing the taxpayers by taking government money to subsidize your version of speech, which is illegal. The constraints on free speech are one thing, but also artificially elevating someone's hate speech would definitely be a violation of yours and my rights towards taxation with representation, as it were. So let's see what he's pissed about.
But here's the thing. Yet again,
this is the thing. Here's the deal.
Today on the floor of the House of Representatives, we had another show vote to make people feel good about themselves by passing.
And it worked. Terrible. Hold on, I'm gonna move it. There you go. A show vote. Ugh. Show voters.
Passing a bill that says anti-Semitism in the title.
Yeah, happens all the time.
That's what happened.
Yeah, we know.
And it was put on the floor by Republican leadership.
Uh-huh. And also, I honestly don't know if there would have been the need for this bill had Democrats been in charge of all the parts of government, because there would have been a clearer, more direct way to deal with both the Israeli situation, the Ukraine situation, the Taiwan situation. It would have been a lot smoother without all the weird back and forth bigotry, and people wouldn't feel the need to have to stand up in these situations and work on
When they gaze upon Yosemite,
you know what I mean?
And it was put on the floor by Republican leadership despite knowing
that this country was founded on anti-Semitism.
That it was pulled from going through committee. We didn't have a chance to amend it.
Huh? It was pulled from going through committee. So you guys tried to stop it in committee, and they went, "No, we're just going to bring it to the floor anyways." What's the committee part? The committee is not the final gatekeeper of stuff. The leadership can, they obviously did, dumb fuck. They can bring it to the floor if they want to. They don't have, but this asshole wants to be the gatekeeper for everything that's through that. That's why they wanted committee positions, I would like to remind you. You'll recall that during McCarthy and during Mike Johnson, dumb fucks like Chip Roy wanted to be put on committee for what particular reason? Why did they want to be on committee? So they could stop bills from going through, so they could kill it in the crib, so they never have to be embarrassed by a vote. They never have to have a bill called to the floor that they would be for, but they have to vote against because Trump doesn't like it, or their voting bloc is against it, and it would affect their chances, or their very slim, kind of narrow, their minutely narrow version of what their politics can and should be. They don't want to violate the MAGA shield around their belief system, so they don't want that stuff coming to the floor because they'd have to vote for it. That's why the omnibuses passed, right? And that's why they didn't want it. That's why they wanted 12 separate bills, so they could just vote for defense and gut everything else. Tough shit.
We didn't have a chance to discuss it, to debate it. We didn't have a hearing on it.
which I gotta say, in the case of an anti-Semitism bill about funding that goes to universities, I would have loved, believe me, Chips Ahoy, I would have loved to watch you assholes try and have a conversation about anti-Semitism on college campuses and debate it and move it out of committee. Believe me, the clips I could have gotten, do you have any idea how this strikes at my bottom line as an upstart young businessman? I've got prospects that, you know, as a small business owner, where my time to make the donuts is when you dumb motherfuckers say a series of awful things in a row in the dumbest way possible, in really ham-handed and shitty ways. And then, you know, especially when it's totally removed from reality. Like, you mix all those things together and I'm in hog heaven, okay? So don't act like you're upset this didn't go through committee, because I would have loved to watch your dumb ass and your friends try to argue why you shouldn't pass an anti-Semitism rule about money that goes to colleges and universities. Just glow. Mwah. And the witnesses you would have brought in from Liberty University and Trump University, and, you know, glorious. Fucking glorious. But beggars can't be choosers, and I got to deal with it. So if I got to deal with it, so do you. Fuck off.
It was jammed through.
Boo fuckity who.
To take advantage of this political moment.
You mean this political moment where there's an outsized amount of anti-Semitism happening on college campuses, and a rise of general anti-Semitism across the country, that a lot of it was launched out of Charlottesville, a thing that you refused to go against, where they were literally marching with tiki torches saying Jews will not replace us. And that's one of the phrases you motherfuckers will never touch. You mean that moment that's been going on since Trump fucking showed up?
While all of these horrific things are going around the country.
They're going around the country? I didn't realize it was... Oh, he means the Trump rallies. Yeah, the front row Joes. Yeah, they're horrible, and they're going all around the country.
Republican leadership wanted to score political points.
With the American people. They're just trying to make the American people think they represent the vast majority of Americans, when we fucking don't, okay? Stop trying to get the American people to like you. That's not why I'm here. I'm here so that the American people learn to hate their government and want to burn it down and start from scratch. I obviously don't want any part of that, and when it all starts, I've got a timeshare in Mexico City that Ted Cruz and I snuggle up in every other weekend, where, you know, that I'll bug off to while the purge is happening. But for the time being... Fuck you, dude.
They moved through legislation without the kind of deliberation, debate that is supposed to be carried out by the people in this chamber. As a result, today, a significant number of my Republican colleagues, including myself, voted no.
And I got stuck having to vote against an anti-Semitism rule. And now everybody knows. I hope you're fucking happy. Thanks a lot. Yeah, fine. Sure, you know, make me vote against the anti-Semitism thing, which, you know, I don't even think universities should be funded at all, much less ones that are full of, but I can't vote against anti-Semitism or I'll lose my seat in my district, because I'll get primaried. If my main group of voters, if my base isn't allowed to be anti-Semitic, I'm fucked.
As a result, we will be accused of, I don't know, being for anti-Semitic behavior, being...
Anti-Semitic is the phrase. That's what for anti-Semitic behavior would be. That would be also anti-Semitic. I don't know any anti-Semites that aren't for anti-Semitic behavior, and I don't know anybody that commits anti-Semitic behavior who isn't an anti-Semite, I mean, even accidentally. So,
accused by our friends and allies of
well, don't you have to have those first?
not wanting to support Israel, supporting our Jewish American colleagues and friends.
Again, colleagues you have. Friends, citation needed.
Constituents, fellow Americans. Nothing could be further from the truth, but that's what will happen.
Well, I got to tell you, and almost anytime somebody says nothing could be further from the truth, there's obviously something could be further from the truth. I mean, you could be, in this particular case where someone's accusing you of anti-Semitism, you could be literally channeling the ghost of Anne Frank. That would be further from the truth of, never mind.
And it'll happen because we dared to stand up and say, we don't believe in thought police.
Why couldn't you just think that? And then they would have arrested you and you could have used civil disobedience.
We don't believe that a bill should be brought to the floor of the United States House of Representatives, having not gone through committee, that has a reference in it to international organizations' definitions.
You mean like the International Holocaust Society or whatever's definition? The group that represents the people who went through the Holocaust and what it's actually defined as? Okay.
Literally in the statute.
Uh-huh.
And then taking that international organization's definition and then literally in the statute.
Literally.
Representing and referencing the examples of anti-Semitic behavior.
Well, that I got to tell you, if you're trying to define anti-Semitism and it's in a law where someone might actually be charged in some way or lose funding, which is really what this is about, you might want to have direct examples so you can weigh against like what qualifies as anti-Semitism and what's just piggish bullshit, crappy behavior from one of your friends. You know what I mean? So you should consider yourself lucky that they're actually defining it based on something.
Now, I find the vast majority of the things that were listed in that to be horrific activity.
The vast majority? Which ones? What, in what way? Which one of them are you fine with?
Most likely, if not certainly, anti-Semitic, at least in most contexts.
Yeah, especially when there's Jews involved, I guess. Yeah.
Some of them are problematic.
Are they? Problematic, huh? Now who's the lefty snowflake? Problematic? You're saying problematic now? Boy, is that word lost the fucking script now. If he's saying problematic, fuck me.
In totality, they certainly raise First Amendment concerns. They certainly raise concerns about something that I've opposed to the best of my knowledge and ability, reading through pieces of legislation at every turn and every vote to oppose the whole notion of hate speech, hate crimes, thought police, thought crimes.
There's no thought crimes and there's no thought police. If you kill a black person because of your stated belief that black people deserve to die, you are more of a threat to the average black person than someone who is black and killed another black person because they had a dust up. Even though in the same situation, in both of these crimes, a black person died. But when we're sentencing you, we can factor in, did you do this on purpose because it was one person that you knew, or did you do it because you hate the generalized public and therefore you're way more dangerous if we let you out? So in the case of somebody that you had a fight with and the person died in the fight because you guys were fighting, then you get 8 to 12 years, and hopefully by the time you come out, you don't run into another person that you'd actually want to attack again and cause the same kind of fight or whatever. It's a possibility, but it's slimmer than the idea that you might get out and eventually run into a black person somewhere. See, that's where The hate speech and hate crime stuff factors in. It just helps us in the sentencing to categorize how long you should be in jail for what you do.
Putting the government into your head.
Honestly, it lives rent free in yours. It's not in mine.
And your motivations when you're engaged in criminal behavior.
You're engaged in criminal behavior. Wait. So the government is hypnotizing you into committing crimes at this? I'm confused. Hold on. Back the fuck up. I thought there was a thread here that maybe made sense. That's my fault. Run that by me again.
Thought police, thought crimes.
Yeah, I heard that part. The Minority Report. Don't scratch, never scratch. Gotcha.
Putting the government into your head.
Oh, pudding. If you've got a right, if you're Trump and you have pudding for brain, then no, that's not what he said. Hold on.
And your motivations when you're engaged in criminal behavior.
Putting the government in your head and in your behavior when you're engaged in in your motivations when you're engaged in criminal behavior. No, I mean, I think if you know something's illegal, no, I still don't get it. I don't understand. At this point, I was about to make best effort to explain it, but honest to God, what?
Criminal behavior is criminal behavior.
Well, thank you. See, I'm glad you defined it. Now we should put that in a piece of legislation. Somebody write that shit down. Criminal behavior is, what do you say again? Criminal behavior is criminal behavior. Put that, yeah. Write that on a piece of paper someplace, just in case we need to check later.
Violating people's civil rights is violating people's civil rights.
Cool. Yeah. You know what? That's a lot wordier. Just stick with the criminal behavior as criminal behavior. But what do they have a civil right to? Because obviously we don't have a civil right to not be called a racial slur, for example. That's true. But we do have a civil right against the threat of violence because of our identity in America. So that would be different. And therefore, you would kind of need to define what qualifies as anti-Semitic behavior versus just anti-Semitic thought or things that can be read two ways. Huh? Look at that. We're making progress, dummy.
But when we want to insert the government into what you're thinking and what motivates you.
Oh, yes. Anytime someone is tried for a crime and we try to figure out what part motive played, we've crossed a line. That's the one thing I've noticed in all my years of watching Law and Order, that motive really doesn't have any meaning in the judicial system or how things go. And it certainly doesn't impact whether or not someone will offend again. Seriously. For fuck's sake. I don't, honest to God. Yeah, thank you, Ann. Thank you for stating it, Ann, in the chat room. Gobbledygook. This is gobbledygook. This motherfucker is just trying to paint everybody else as anti-free speech so that he can protect a big chunk of his constituency from getting their words attached to the crime they commit in the future. Specifically Jan 6ers, by the way. You broke into the Capitol on Jan 6. You repeatedly said leading up to it you were going to kill Nancy Pelosi, but you want that wiped out. You don't want the government doesn't know what you were thinking when you stepped over the body of a police officer and into the threshold of the Capitol on that day and said, I'm going to kill Nancy Pelosi. What happened after that? They can't tell after you said that on Facebook to everybody that was watching at home and bragged about it. The government doesn't know what happened in your head from that moment to when you got your ass handed to you and then you were caught and your family turned you in because you were blogging about how if you'd have had a chance, you'd have killed her. The government doesn't know what you were thinking between when you said it on Facebook and when your family showed them what else you were saying on Facebook.
You are empowering that which should never be empowered.
What would that be? You're empowering that which should never be empowered. Wave jazz? I'm going to go with wave jazz. I mean, because it just would sound, I mean, it should stay relatively quiet. I just don't think it needs that kind of ampage. I just don't.
The ability of the government to police thought.
The government cannot police thought.
To police speech.
It's not policing speech. Unless, of course, that speech is a threat of violence, right? That's speech. If you say, I'm going to fucking kill you as soon as I get over there, that would be, in this particular instance, an illegal act. That would be terroristic threats, I think we call them. Unless this chip off the old shit would like to explain to us all how terroristic threats are not illegal. The floor is yours, sir.
To police your views. Not the view.
Your views. Which views? Your views that the Jews run everything? Is that the view we're talking about?
Views that carry out then the actions. The actions are the problem.
Right, but once you do the action, you can say, that was a one-off. And then we go back and look at your social media or what you said on Facebook and the like, and you're like, you killed a Jewish person, and up to that point, you kept saying, I'm going to kill it doesn't matter what Jew if I come across a Zionist, blah, 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 that you do that, then people can look back at what you said and go, oh, this motherfucker actually is a danger to all the Jews out there, therefore 65 years in jail instead of 12. Does that seem, chat room, real quick, does that seem, am I losing my mind here? Does that not seem reasonable? Yeah? In this particular instance, does it not seem that that's what this is largely about, in those terms? That if your action leads you to do something violent and that violent action was based on bigotry or prejudice, then the bigotry or prejudice was your motivation for doing it. You wouldn't have killed a Jew otherwise, right? And therefore, we can look at that in terms of how much time you're going to get behind bars, right? Yeah. So, yeah.
Police the actions. But here's the thing.
That's it. He ends with that. Police the actions. This is the clip that that the mess put up there. That's all. Police the actions. That's what they are doing, stupid. That's what they are doing. You know, no one is going to go to jail because they read the New Testament and Jews were involved in the death of Christ. He was a Jew himself at the time. He was either the last Jew or the first Christian, depending on who you ask. But fuck off with this nonsense. But this is, again, what's the nature of this panic attack? Well, here, I'll give you an example. This is, what's this? It's from a channel called The First. Anti-Semitism bill, exclamation point. There's Chip Roy back on this thing with this dude who, Jesse somebody or other, and he goes, everything wrong with the anti-Semitism bill. Everything. Okay, so Stalin and Lenin and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and communist. Radical agenda.
Well, let's talk.
Yes, to radically push back on Jew hatred. So radical.
Chip about this disastrous bill that I'm sure will be used against you, me, and everyone else, but everyone.
Why? How? And by the way, if it's going to be used against you, me, and everyone else, for the record, then it's an equally applied law.
Can pretend like it's fighting anti-Semitism today. Joining me now, Congressman Chip Roy from the great state of Texas. Chip, you're one of the few, once again, who voted against this pile of crap. Why'd you vote against it, Chip? Do you hate Jews?
Jesse, look, this is the thing, and let's
this is the thing.
back up for a minute. We ended up in this stupid political cul-de-sac because Republican so-called leadership chose to. That's what happened, right? Back up and rewind the clock 10 days ago. I had to vote against a massive foreign aid funding bill.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, you fucking didn't. You're right. He didn't say no. But no, you didn't. You did not absolutely, you did not have to vote against it. You did. You chose to. The vast majority of the people in your district are for it, but you voted against it. You did. You didn't have to. And if you choose to, then I don't want to hear you fucking bitch about it. I don't want to hear about the political cost of voting against it, especially when it was separated from the border bill, just like everybody had asked for and all this stuff. You were like, I voted against it because I thought it was a waste of fucking money, and that's it. I don't want to hear all this shit about now suddenly people are calling you out for your anti-Ukraine, pro-Russia bullshit, and I don't want to hear you whining about the fact that you had to vote against this. You absolutely didn't. And if you could have, like, they wouldn't allow you to have amendments or whatever, then you could have put forward, if you had any guts at all, like, I voted for it because I'm against anti-Semitism, but I want to make sure that this isn't misused, so I'm putting forward the Clarification Free Speech Act to guarantee the rights of blah, 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 going forward, right? Like, I'm putting forward a bill that makes sure that it's not misused because someone misinterprets what we're trying to do, which is a good thing. It passed. So here's my solution to make sure, right? That's not hard. As a matter of fact, wouldn't that make you a free speech hero instead of a lazy son of a bitch who doesn't want to follow through on anything and thinks that the entire extent of your governing responsibility is to say no to shit? That's it. Look at this asshole behind Chip. That is Chip.
Because, as you know, and as your listeners and viewers know, it was funding Ukraine for a missionless war.
A missionless war. Well, that's not true on two fronts. One, the Russians have a mission to eradicate the existence of Ukraine and Ukrainians as a people. That's a mission. And then the other mission is the Ukrainians would like to live. And their mission is to not die.
We don't have our own border secure. It was funding Israel.
Hey, asshole, you had a chance to vote for a border bill. I don't want to hear shit about you guys only care about their border, but you don't care about ours. Motherfucker, they brought the bill to the floor and everybody ponied up and voted for the Ukraine bill, and they would have voted for the border bill, but you guys shut it down. Why the fuck do you think they can't talk about it? Why do you think Joey Pags is like, how come nobody's talking about the border? A, because the numbers are down. The Biden administration is doing everything they did under the Obama-Biden administration that actually helped things. And then ultimately, yeah, it just works. They still want more tools available to them. But there we go. Buggers can't be choosers. Anyway, so you get the point. He's on a tour right now, as are a bunch of these assholes, to try and push back on this idea. Now, let's jump over and see what Trump had to say leaving court today. Now, if you weren't following along, Hope Hicks, a.k.a. testified today. Good Lord, that woman is lovely. It's rude, almost. Seriously. In another... You know, if we'd have lost the war, she'd be our Kate Middleton. I'm just telling you. But anyways, she testified today. Before they began cross-examination, she broke down in tears after the prosecution had rested and the defense was going to cross-examine her. She broke down in tears and she stepped down, and when they came back, she was gone. So either they said we're not going to ask her any questions, or they didn't have any and they were just glad they dodged the bullet. But she started crying and left. Largely because even talking about Trump and all this shit probably makes her feel gross. I can't say I blame her, but that's careful satire gets you kicked. Okay, I'll consider that. So so she cried. So what? Yeah, well, that's the thing. I don't know. Nobody could see because there's not cameras available, and the only camera that is there is the spillover room camera where the reporters are. And apparently it was like a fucking sitcom half the day in there because the reporters were laughing so loud that you could hear them in the regular courtroom. And Trump doesn't like it, and that's why he was talking about salacious shit this morning, because he's embarrassed by it. But let's jump over. This is him leaving, I believe. Yeah, these are vicious, radical left lunatics who destroy lives, says Trump. This is.
So I'm not
So thank you very much.
allowed to comment on any of that. As you know, I'm under a gag
Hold on. I'm not allowed to. Somebody asked him a question, I guess.
order, which is very unprecedented. But I will say this: that
Also, no, it isn't. No, it isn't. It's really common when you have a well-known defendant who attacks the members of the court and the jurors and all that kind of. That's gag orders happen. We're not. You do realize we're not being introduced to the fucking concept, right? But let's just enjoy this. Also, I apologize. You guys are right. This is my bad. Ladies and gentlemen, please prepare yourself. The nunt is strong with this one, and it's really nasty. And you want to talk about a gag order? Yeah, the Johnny Depp trial. That's right. There was a gag order in that.
the government, DOJ, et cetera, et cetera,
Et cetera, et cetera. All the three-letter organizations in the government: DOJ, ETC, ETC, ETC.
and in particular, lately, this office of DA, which is letting violent crime, run rampant all over our city.
Your city? Motherfucker, you left. And I'm sorry, but the Manhattan DA can't stop all the crime in West Palm Beach, but, you know, I don't know what to tell you. You're the one who wished Ghislaine Maxwell a good, a good time in jail.
What they've done to people in my company, they've been after us for years.
Right, yeah. In the same way that I guess Rudy wants credit for going after the mob, right?
You take a look at what's happened.
Mm-hmm. We are. You got away with shit for a long
Years.
time.
The Democrats, the radical left, they've been after us for years, and they've destroyed people's lives.
Whose life are you talking about? First of all, I thought you were a billionaire that could shrug this kind of money off. So I don't want to hear about your ruined life. You were golfing last weekend, so eat shit. Secondly, who the fuck are you talking about? Your sons? You hung them out to dry, you dumb motherfucker. Eric had to plead the fifth over 400 times because you made him the signer of documents because you didn't want Ivanka and Don Jr. to go to jail, and not because you love Don Jr. more, but because he's Donald Trump as well. And if it's in the news that Donald Trump Jr. went to jail, it sounds like Donald Trump went to jail to a bunch of people if they don't notice the junior part, and that's upsetting to you.
They've gone out, hired lawyers. They've been with lawyers for years.
Dating or just hanging out, or they just think it's, cool?
Being sucked dry.
Quit it. Quit it. This is no time for salacious details. Oh, come on.
And it's a shame. It's a shame.
It is a shame. I don't know. Well, I don't know. As someone that's happened to before, I didn't think it was a shame.
What they've done to this country.
What have they done to this country? It's a sunny, nice day in New York, I would like to say for the record. Like, New York was lovely today. Like, if you look at any... Oh, shit. I should probably... Hold on. Let's see. Central Park live camera. It's nighttime there, so it's dark. Wildlife Beach, Central Park, webcam, New York. Let's go there. Columbus Circle. There you go. Oh, get out of here, aircraft service. Shoot. Going to EarthCam. Columbus Circle in New York. Live streaming web views. See the hustle and bustle of the city, active city, spot borders, beautiful Central Park, and Time Warner. Host the Columbus Circle Jazz at Lincoln Center and more. Skip that. Okay, there we go. Get out of here. Go away. Yep, here we go. This is it. It's, I don't know. This is just terrible. Look at New York. This is just awful. Look at it. This is just, I mean, I can barely see the city with all the blood on the camera, and it's just running red in the streets, and like nobody's working. Everybody's just like running from criminals and just stabbings. And then look at this person on crashed his bicycle, and then it was a unicycle. Sorry, a skateboard. It was a guy on a skateboard. Nobody ever crashes on a skateboard. So there he goes, guy on a skateboard. It was a little tense there for a second, but yeah, obviously this is video created by ChatGPT to cover up all the crime, to lure people into New York so that they can be attacked. Yeah, and then and somebody's like zombie. There's a zombie right there. There's this guy right over here. It's a zombie. This is a zombie with a broom. There's two zombie skateboarders. Look at just the vileness, the skateboarders. People look at these guys is obviously carrying drugs and human remains. And then there's a cab probably full of mafia guys. And then, look at this, just terrible. And it's 55 degrees at 7 o'clock at night. You can't even go outside because it's sweltering, and you'd sweat if you weren't bleeding so profusely. You know what I mean? Just the crime. Look at that. They have to keep replacing these glass windows like every day because someone keeps getting chucked out of every floor. Just if we sit here long enough, someone will just go psh, and like just fall to their death. And then a crew will come in and just replace it, paid for with your tax dollars. Thanks, Joe Biden. Shit.
And it's a shame what they've done to a lot of great people that have been absolutely ruined and destroyed.
He means Jeffrey Epstein. Just for the record, he means Jeffrey Epstein and Harvey Weinstein, and he's at and Bernie Madoff and Jared Kushner's dad and his uncle, and that his dad did that too.
Not only here, all over.
That was you skateboarding in Superman. That was close. It's true. Yeah. Thank God Superman was close. Absolutely. Although he did threaten me.
These are vicious, radical left lunatics. The DA here, he saw us back. They shouldn't be wasting time on this. Look what they do to so many people.
Who? You're alone, you dumb motherfucker. What do you want? You want to blame the DA for Hope Hicks crying? Motherfucker, she's crying because she had to remember shit about hanging out with you.
They're all lawyered up. That's all they do. Lawyer up.
Why are they lawyered up?
In the meantime,
you're lawyered up. What the fuck is this guy doing? He's literally standing next to you saying nothing. That's the most lawyered up I've ever seen. You have a lawyer in your petting zoo, you dumb motherfucker.
You can't do anything in the country. The country's going to hell.
It is. And it's not there yet. It's been going to hell for a long time. Hell must be a long way off. That's all I gotta say.
They have no time. They have no anything.
No time. No snacks. We're fucked. We got no time. Got no anything. What? How does he think this is convincing? Anybody know why this? Listen to this again. They got no time. They got no anything.
In the country's going to hell.
Right.
They have no time. They have no anything left because they're always under siege. It's a terrible
shit show. It's just you were gonna say shit show. You were gonna say shame or shit show. I think shame.
Terrible thing happening in our country, and hope.
To who? Who the fuck are you talking about? I'm serious. It's just you dumb motherfucker. You're practically the only. Oh, wait. I know. I just figured out why is this a group thing all of a sudden? Why are people having to lawyer up? Why is he bringing up a volume? First of all, Arizona, where he's an unindicted co-conspirator. That's going. So Boris Epstein and all those fuckers were there and yesterday, so that probably has something to do with it. On top of that, if I may, ladies and gentlemen, let's see if I can find this. Let's see. Let's see. This might be why. Yeah. Here's what I think. Why he thinks this. Why he's saying in New York, because again, the Boris Epstein shit and all that is in Arizona. I think I have the reason why he's saying specifically people are having to lawyer up in New York and lives are being destroyed and blah 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 blah. Okay, you want to know why? Could you wait? Oh god, this is so fun. This is why. Trump Media's accounting firm charged with massive fraud. That's right. BF Borgers, the independent accounting firm that audited the books of Trump Media and Truth Sinkhole, I guarantee that's what he said. They're having to lawyer up. They don't have any time and blah, blah, blah. That's what he's talking about. He doesn't have time to replace the auditor for all of his, and he can't sell his stocks to get out from under it. It's going to take a shit and all that stuff. That's what this is. I guarantee that's why he's jabbering on about other people and their lives being ruined and whatever the fuck. That's what this is. 100%. Trump Media's accounting firm charged with massive fraud. Massive fraud. Massive fraud. Okay, here we go. BF Borgers, Trump Media and Technology Group's independent accounting firm, there we go, let me blow this up, was charged by the Securities and Exchange Commission on Friday with widespread fraud and accused of operating a sham audit mill. That's why. And it's in New York, and the SEC is there, and that's why he's fixated on it, and that's why he's being sucked dry, right? The SEC made no allegation of wrongdoing against Truth Social owner Trump Media DJT, which is not mentioned in the charges from the regulator because they don't have to. They'll just throw out your audit and you have to go get re-audited because they're attacking the company. They can't prove that you hired. I mean, they could, I guess, later on prove that you hired them because you knew they were an audit mill, but that's another crime for another time. But right now, they don't have to do that. All they got to do is shut this fucking place down, and you've got to go find a real accountant, and you're not going to, and you're shit. Right, so you're shit out of luck. The SEC accused BF Borgers of deliberate and systemic failures, or as Donald Trump would call it, the best people, including fabricating audit documentation and falsely representing to clients its work would comply with accounting standards. The agency described this as massive fraud taking place between January 2021 and June 2023 that impacted more than 1,500 SEC filings and more than 500 public companies, including Truth Sinkhole. The SEC imposed a severe penalty against BF Borgers, permanently suspending the firm from practicing as accountants before the agency effective immediately. The firm and its owner, Benjamin Borgers, also agreed to pay $14 million in collective fines. It's so good that we have a good time. It's very exciting. Why is that happening all of a sudden? Anyways, so for the record, it's just a joy, isn't it? Sometimes it's just nice. It's just a nice thing that happens. Hold on. Why did this log out, you rat? Log back in, you silly thing. There we go. Okay. My software started acting weird. We're still on? We're good. Okay. I don't like it when you start messing with my shit. All right. Borgers and his sham audit mill have been permanently shut down. Gabir Grewal, director of the SEC's Enforcement Division, said in a press release, public companies that have hired BF Borgers will need to find new accounting firms. The SEC alerted companies in a separate statement on Friday. Trump Media announced plans to do just that. Trump Media looks forward to working with the new auditing partners in accordance with today's SEC order. Trump Media spokesperson Shannon Devine told CNN in a statement, of course, you don't have a fucking choice, do you? No, you don't. You big dummy. You stupid dummy. So that is why, guaranteed, 100%, that is exactly why Donald Trump is bitching about groups of people that are affecting his, are being treated like shit or whatever. That's, I swear to God, that's exactly what's going on. Hold on, let me put my chat back in here so I can see you lovely folks. There you go. So, you're welcome. Glad to straighten that out for you. This is what he's talking about.
November 5th, the most important day in the history of our country, in my opinion.
Right, because in terms of you not going to jail, it is. Because you didn't give a fuck about this country your whole fucking life. Let me just be abundantly clear. The whole Make America Great Again and the whole America First thing is just another bullshit label to him, okay? Trump is to America what Harvey Weinstein is to women's rights. Harvey Weinstein spent the greater part of his career making very woman-forward movies, mainly so that he could corral the most powerful and attractive actresses of our time and force them to debase themselves by hanging out with him. You understand? Harvey Weinstein used the scoutmaster Catholic priest methodology of getting close to little boys to get close to women. And Donald Trump used America to get close to suckers. He just went, look at all these dipshit Christians and these dipshit patriots, and they will just fucking roll over for anybody that throws them a bone. So I'll just grab a bunch of those phrases and these dumb motherfuckers will line up. And he was right. Now, it won't last for a long time, and there's a return on investment and that kind of shit, but that's exactly what's going on. This motherfucker didn't give a shit. He didn't care about America. If you cared about America, you wouldn't deny black people the right to stay in your buildings. You'd go, America is great in many ways, but one of the best things about it is it doesn't show up on anybody's 23andMe. We're all fucking Americans. And if you're an American, you can live in my fucking buildings because that's what we're all under this Constitution. We have this, that's the one thing we share. We can come from a bunch of different places, or we can be born here or brought here. It doesn't matter because America is a place where everybody can thrive and everybody can live up to the best that's available to them. That's what you would do. That's what you do if you're an actual patriot. That's what you do if you actually want America to be great. But if you don't, and you want to turn it into a gated community for you and your dipshit buddies and any fucking pilfering foreign interest from Russia to China to Saudi Arabia that wants to come in here, take the good shit and never pay for it, use our airports, use our highways, use our train systems and all that shit, but never pay taxes on any of it, then what you do is you sell MAGA to a bunch of dumb fucks and you sell, America First as an idea that you absolutely don't believe. These are the same people who will bitch about the Patriot Act and other bills that, are, the Protecting America bill and go, this is just how they snow you. And then not respond honestly when they're called out for doing the exact same fucking thing. Period.
That's called Election Day. Hopefully it's going to...
What came first, the indictment or his announcement of candidacy? He was served with papers that they were going to have to basically raid Mar-a-Lago, and then he declared. The indictments came later, but the evidentiary part of the investigations was building up, and it was becoming clear to him and his lawyers, who they had let him know that he was going to be served in all these cases, so he preemptively declared that he was going to run early so that he could get ahead of when the indictments came out. Does that make sense? The indictments came after he launched his campaign, but he launched his campaign early because he knew he was going to be indicted. Just to clarify.
change.
Thank you so much, Arizona Sunflowers. Bless you. Thank you guys for the super chats, and thanks for liking and subscribing and all that kind of stuff. Hit that like, let people know we're here. I got all caught up in doing the show, and I forgot to sell the show.
Because these people are destroying our country, whether at the border, whether the horrible reports that came out today are jobs numbers.
Oh, the horrible jobs. Oh, jobs. Jobs. Hold on one second. Real quick. Let's see. Check in. We'll check in on the, what does Bloomberg say about the jobs numbers? Hold on one second. Oh, shit. That wasn't supposed to be the first thing that comes up. Why did that come up? I literally just typed in Bloomberg and this is the first thing that come up. That's just rude. Why would they, what in the world? That's not right. Come back here, Bloomberg. Okay. Fed-obsessed traders need the economy to get its story straight. Conflicting economic data spurs swings across asset classes. That's because these motherfuckers want to solve for X, not recognizing that X was COVID, and they want to pretend it didn't happen and go, last time we had this kind of recession, or last time we put $6 trillion in the economy, we had economic inflation. Well, motherfucker, we didn't have a $22 trillion hole blown in our economy by a giant worldwide pandemic. So $6 trillion ain't going to plug a hole that big. That's why. I'm fine. I'm all right. Gonna be okay. Just relax. Hal, you're gonna be fine. They don't get it, and it's not their fault. They're stupid. Yellen says fundamentals still point to slowing inflation. This is true. Banker bonus clawbacks are poised for a vote with outcome murky. Markets were confused and misled. The Fed wasn't. Here you go. From an inflation standpoint, data for the first quarter was a mess. Early signs are pointing towards a much more encouraging April. This is May 3rd. Early signs are pointing towards a much more encouraging April. I see. So they haven't come. Those numbers haven't come out yet, I guess. The encouraging part, by the way, is that the jobs are going away and that we're not having this, like, the economy won't continue to be totally on fire, driving up this inflation issue because the Fed doesn't want to lower interest rates until it feels like it's got inflation under control, but it thinks inflation is driven by the amount of money that people are putting into the economy and not the recovery itself and the shortening of supply chains, which is what's driving prices up. This is not monetary inflation. There, I said it. Okay. Trump aide Hicks cries on witness stand. That's what he recalls this. G7 plans on U.S.-led $50 billion aid package for Ukraine. ICE plan on, because they're going to double our money, essentially. Russia's national pleads guilty in U.S. over crypto laundering. Uh-oh. No wonder Trump's upset. That's the other one. I'll show you that one in a second. Apple looks to fuel iPad comeback with new Pro and Air models. Also, their AI is going to be announced. They're going to announce Realm as part of the new Siri in probably August. Biden BP and the high-stakes sequel to Deepwater Horizon. All right, whatever. Politics, that's a risk. Has had enough of politics. That's a risk for Biden. Okay, everything's a fucking risk for Biden. Campus uproar, buoys. Okay, notice how the job shit isn't really playing a part of this. The only part on Bloomberg, and same's on Market Watch. The only thing that's affecting the markets, which by the way are all fucking green, is this low jobs numbers is making them feel better about the potential that the economy isn't totally on fucking fire again. Also, this is what they're talking about here. This BTCE exchange guy was one of the world's largest. This guy, Alexander Vinnik, was blamed for $121 million in losses, according to the U.S. A Russian national pleaded guilty to money laundering conspiracy related to his role in operating one of the world's largest virtual currency exchanges from 2011 to 2017. U.S. prosecutor said Alexander Vinnik, one of the operators of BTCE, until it was shut down by law enforcement after he was arrested, according to a statement by the U.S. Attorney's Office in San Francisco. They processed more than $9 billion worth of transactions, served more than 1 million users worldwide. The U.S. has been cracking down on cryptocurrency fraud. FTX co-founder Sam Bankman-Fried was sentenced in March to 25 years in prison for orchestrating a multi-billion-dollar scheme, while Terraform Labs PTE and co-founder Do Kwon were found liable for fraud last month in a civil trial over the firm's 2022 collapse, which wiped out $40 billion in investor assets. This week, Binance founder Changben Zhao was sentenced to 4 months for failures that allowed criminals and terrorists to trade on the world's largest crypto exchange. Prosecutors describe BTCE as one of the primary ways by which cyber criminals around the world transferred, laundered, and stored the criminal proceeds of illegal activities, including hacking, ransomware attacks, and narcotics distribution, as well as human trafficking and everything else. And fuck those guys. And cryptocurrency has one purpose. It is the money. It is the currency of murderers and human traffickers and arms dealers and drug dealers. That's what it's for. Nobody else needs it. We all have the U.S. dollar, the good old U.S. buck.
With all you hear, whether
I talk fast when I want to. Yeah, I read fast. That's I speed read, so I tendency to jump into that that mode when I'm reading. Sorry. The only thing I don't do is that when I'm reading, I do the finger crawl. I don't know if anybody speed reads. One of the ways you do it is you just brush your fingers across the page, right? And it helps you track which words are entering your brain without sub-vocalizing them. It's another thing. We'll talk about it later. The greenback, yes.
Inflation, which is destroying us, a lousy economy,
Afghanistan? Dude, motherfucker, we've been out of Afghanistan for like 3 years.
allowing Russia to attack Ukraine would have
We didn't allow them. We just didn't nuke them first.
never happened. Then you take October 7th in Israel, that would have never happened.
You take October 7th.
All of these things happening, and all they do is they go after people. They destroy people.
People who need people. Well, you do realize that there are people involved in all these things, I suppose. I mean, what are they supposed to do? Blow up statues? I mean, we can only tear down the Robert E. Lee statue so many times.
And it's a shame.
Yes, they go after, of all things, the kidney. Know what I'm saying?
The kidney has a very special place in the heart.
Oh, good. Okay.
So I just want to wish everybody a very good weekend.
Thanks. That's sweet.
I was very
I was golfing, actually, is what you were going to say.
interested in what took place today.
Really? Because I heard you were sleeping again, so I don't know that that's true. You were very, very interested. So if you're very interested in something, you sleep through 30% of it. Okay. What happens when you're incredibly interested? Do you slip into a coma?
But I just have to say, we have a country.
You don't have to say it. Whatever it is, you don't have to say it. And you certainly don't have to do your weird titty groping hand gestures while you say it.
To build. We have to rebuild it.
We can rebuild it. We have the technology. It'll be about $6 billion. My plan will be ready. I saw Lee Majors at the Fall Guy premiere. Not good, not looking good, not as handsome as me. Younger than me, but older at the same time.
Our country has gone to hell. We're a nation in decline.
I gotta say, if we've gone to hell, then that's the end of the decline. Can you get lower than hell, really? If we're in hell, then we're not in decline. We have declined into hell. I think hell is kind of your catch-all as far as places where declines lead to. I mean, I'm not an expert on decline and hell. You are. I mean, we can tell by looking at you.
And we cannot let that happen.
It already happened. If we're in hell, then it happened. It happened. Right?
To the USA. Thank you very much.
Thanks for clarifying. We all thought you were talking about Russia for a minute, but to the USA, thank you very much. Also, USA Bible. Also, don't forget, you must buy the Bible that I am selling. I gotta go autograph some Bibles. I'm legally obligated to fucking sign a bunch of these. Lee Greenwood, I hate you. That's it.
Hey, Sean Hannity here.
Hey, Sean Hannity. What? Real quick. Why are all the big macho dudes on the Trump side of the aisle? Why do they all have such weaselly little voices? Anybody notice that? Right? I mean, now I understand that the fact that I am a masterful singer, as you will see tomorrow night if you come to the Virgin Hotel and Casino and see Nerd Halen perform, or a week from next Tuesday if you come to the Ultimate Jam Night, where we'll be celebrating the music of our European partners. I guess we're staying away from the UK because we deal with British bands a lot or whatever, so we're trying to stick to Europe in general, English bands, which leaves us with, I think, Europe, Scorpions, and Crocus, but we'll get there. And and depending on how Ireland's feeling about it, maybe some U2. I'd like to do some U2, but I will be doing some. We are doing the final countdown. I know that for sure. I have insisted. So I'm just saying, and in many ways it'll be dedicated to Summer, who's a big fan of the shuttle program. But Queensryche is from Seattle. They don't qualify. It sounds like they're from Germany, but they're not. They're from Seattle. Yeah. The Final Kidney, yes. We're leaving together, but still it's farewell. And maybe we'll come back to Earth, who can tell? I'm just saying, I can nail that shit. I can nail it. The question is, will they let me sing Carrie? Now, back to Europe's. First of all, Europe's album, it was like, they've had a couple albums in the last like 10 years, but there's an album they put out, album before last, called The Secret Society. Secret Society is a great fucking record. If you like that kind of music, and I hope that you do, and you know how to have a good time, the Secret Society is a great fucking record. It's a great guitar record. Joey Tempest vocals are spot fucking on. But back to the original Europe album, if I may, and I think that I can, as we take a slight break from the politics of the day. My girlfriend at the time was named Carrie, and I will always owe Europe I guess a debt, and they will owe me as well. They say the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. Well, Europe was that kind of a band for me, and I'll tell you why. On the one hand, when that album first came out, I was dating a girl named Carrie, and having that Carrie, things they change, my friend. Whoa, right? Great song, good ballad, especially if you got a girlfriend named Carrie and you can sing it, and you've got the dulcet tones of a young Hal Sparks, and you can sing those high notes. Maybe we'll meet again. So, great that song came along when it did. On the other hand, Carrie and I didn't stay together because I made her nervous because I was a very loud and brash young gentleman, and she was like shyer than somebody who has to date somebody who's as extroverted as I am at events and stuff. It's a long story. Anyways, that's why we broke up. No, totally unrelated. But I will say that because I didn't have a girlfriend at the time, when I was going to junior prom, I got set up with a friend of a friend, and this girl, Debbie, and Debbie looked, well, here, I don't have a picture of her, but I can show you exactly what she looked like. Hold on. Let me find yeah. So, this is exactly what Debbie, my date for junior prom, looked like. I will give her a little bit of credit that her breasts were a little larger, but she looked exactly like Joey Tempest from Europe. It was very weird. It was awfully confusing. She's a very pretty girl. Don't get me wrong. But Debbie looked exactly like Joey Tempest, and it was very odd. I'm not kidding. Yeah. So, needless to say, and she was, it was a sort of a blind date or whatever, and I was like, oh my God. All night long. I was like, if they play that fucking song at the prom, I'm leaving. So, long story short, she was Jewish. She ate kosher. She didn't like the restaurant I took her to, and she had to be home early. So I dropped her off, and then I drove my car to meet my friends, and I almost died I almost had a car accident, falling asleep at the wheel, and I woke up at the last second thanks to No Sleep Till Brooklyn, the Beastie Boys song. But I got to the hotel where everybody was staying out by O'Hare, and then the next morning we all went to Great America, the park, and I met a girl who worked at the hot dog stand, and we dated for like 13 months. So, and she was crazy, but she didn't look like she didn't look like Tom Kiefer or or Stephen Piercy or Vince Neil or anybody. So thank God. Yeah, it was basically a blind date. Yeah, I mean I'd seen her before, but like not with her hair crimped and puffed up. So true story. So that was awkward. Yeah. And again, not that weird. Like, oh yeah, I knew. Tell me, ladies and gentlemen, if you knew a girl in high school who looked at all like this, like could be the twin, basically the female twin of this dude, same hair, same everything. Yeah, just saying. So that's the end of that story. But completely true. And so on the one hand, thank you, Europe, for giving me a song I could sing to my girlfriend at the time, but fuck you for ruining prom night, because it was really weird. You have a wig like that? Awesome. I want a wig like that. I think I know her, right? Carrie, things they change, my friend. Whoa. Yeah. When lights go down, I see no reason. Right? I'm just telling you, it's a good tune. The melody's nice. You'd never know that it was like English as a second language song. That's why I always respect people with an accent, because they speak more languages than you do. Hal, please try singing my song for us. My song for which Paisley Jane. Which song would that be, Jane? Jane says, I'm done with Sergio. He treats me like a rag doll. That one? Or, yeah. So, there you go. Yeah, there we go. Oh, Nerdy Woman. All right. Yeah, well, that's tomorrow. Tomorrow. Dressed as a Star Wars character, by the way. I went and got my costume today. I'm very excited. So, and I also have a secondary costume coming as well. But you have to come to the show. That's all I'm saying. Dang, live trying to catch up from this afternoon. Sylvia, there's too much. All right, now, real quick. Yeah, okay, I've still got time. All right, so Trump looks like shit in court. Let's just be abundantly clear. And but the Andrew McCarthy is one of the people that Trump is constantly citing as being a person that. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's true. Bad me. Sorry. Andrew McCarthy is one of the people, and not the member of the Brat Pack, by the way. That Andrew McCarthy, who they used to call, I believe, One Line McCarthy, because he would do a line and then he would do a line, was the bit. He directed a bunch of Blacklist episodes, which was, I thought, lovely that they gave him work and he did a quality job. So, but in the meantime, Trump keeps citing Andrew McCarthy as one of the contributors who says that, there's no case against him and all this kind of stuff. So he's on America's Newsroom talking about this case.
Joining us for more on this is former Assistant U.S. Attorney and Fox News contributor Andy McCarthy. Okay, so you have the decoder ring. What did all that just mean?
Okay, first of all, fuck you, Fox News, for starting a video where somebody just said something and they reference it in the clip. I didn't cut this. I didn't take a piece of this. They did this. It's a 4-minute, 20-second clip. You couldn't add another, 40 seconds onto the top of it so we know what the hell you're referencing?
It's mostly theater at this point, Dana. I mean, he's fighting.
No, it is not.
This politically. The trial is one thing. The gag order stuff is all about the politics of the campaign. And I must say, I think that Judge Merchan.
It's also about the safety of the jurors and the safety of the people who work in the court. But fuck me, what do I know?
Understands that putting Trump in jail, which he can do for up to 30 days for any violation of the gag order.
Right. Sorry, don't threaten me with a good time.
Would be a catastrophe politically for Democrats. So he's finding.
No, I don't think so, actually. Increasingly, that doesn't seem to be the case. There's not a big bunch of fucking people outside that will storm the joint if he's thrown in jail. There was one supporter there today. The fade has been hard.
$1,000 every time. There's no doubt that there are violations of the gag order. I think.
Right. There's no doubt that he has violated it. And then it's within the judge's rights to fine him $1,000 and put him to jail up to 30 days. But thank you, Andrew McCarthy. By the way, can I just say, whatever Donald John Trump says about Andrew McCarthy going forward, let us put a flag in this moment where Andrew McCarthy said there's no doubt that he violated the gag order, and therefore the law provides that the judge can put him in jail for 30 days or fine him $1,000. So that's settled. Cool. So every time he brings up Andrew McCarthy, I want to remind everybody, and I will remind everybody, that according to Andrew McCarthy, Trump has violated the law and a law that is punishable by 30 days in jail, and he got away with it.
The gag order is unconstitutional, but that ship has sailed.
Right, because it's not. You mean which ship? The Mayflower? You dumb motherfucker.
If I were Trump, I'd be.
If you were Trump, you wouldn't be able to even pronounce most of the words you've just said.
Tempted to just give Judge Merchan a check for about $10,000 every Monday and say, this is for this week's violations, and just go do what he's going to do, because I don't think he'll put him in jail.
That's clever. As we like.
It is clever. Flout the law in a way that the rest of us couldn't, because that's the thing. It's, the important thing is that we don't think there's a two-tiered justice system in this country where you and I, if we fucked around like this and we didn't have $1,000, we'd spend fucking time in jail. But this asshole's got money to burn, so no matter what you do to him, he'll just write you a fucking check and tell you to go fuck yourself, and then give you another $1,000 for the insult.
Like to say, have you read Andy McCarthy today? And we did, and you say, next act in the farce, holding Trump in contempt. The big point you make here, Andy, is that if the judge really wanted to be fair, he would have held this trial until after the November election.
Why? Why? Is someone less guilty of a crime because they're popular? Is someone less guilty of a crime, from the time they committed the crime to the time when they lose an election?
Yeah, well, that's right, Bill. If what you're
why? What? And also, the other thing, too, is, well, then fuck you. Next time I get pulled over for speeding, I'm just going to tell the fucking cop that I decided to run for mayor. Right? And you can write me a ticket, but you got to wait. Don't write me the ticket until after the next election, whenever the fuck that is. I haven't decided. And by the way, I'm not going to run until 2036. So I'm in campaign mode from now until 2036.
Concern is the administration of justice. That should be a subordinate concern when we're in a campaign season with.
No, it should not. It absolutely should not.
There's a public interest in having a presidential campaign with robust political speech, and where
he's got robust political speech. He golfed last weekend, you dumb motherfucker.
Trump has a constitutional right to run for office.
Right. But you do not have a constitutional right to not go to court if you are on trial for something, period. His campaigns aren't 24 hours a day. And as far as I've heard, doesn't he have endless, boundless energy?
So if you're worried about the administration of justice, which gives you the ability to do things like gag orders, put the trial off till after the election, and then
Why? So he can pardon himself? Stuff you and I can do. Why the fuck does this motherfucker get a pass? Why does he always get a pass? Why should he always get a pass? I mean, you might as well be saying, like, the Kardashians shouldn't be sued for fraud if one of their products harms somebody until the end of the season, till the viewers can decide whether they want another season of the fucking Kardashians.
The judge has a very important interest in the administration of justice. It's not Trump's fault that this trial got scheduled for the campaign.
Yes, it is. He committed the crime. He's just benefiting from the fact that he fucking delayed it all last year. This shit could have been brought 2 years ago. They did everything they could to punt this shit last year, if you'll recall. They did everything they could to delay, in all these circumstances, all of these trials until after the election in an attempt to allow him to pardon himself.
This was tactically done by Bragg for exactly the reason that we're seeing, so that.
Nope. They were trying to do it way earlier.
They could clamp down on him, clamp down on his ability to speak, And
How? It's fucking 6 weeks max. If he's going to win, this is the earliest they could possibly do it. He's going to have the whole fucking summer. What do you think, he's going to say something different? You think he's going to come up with what do you think he's going to do? Actually release a healthcare plan in 2 weeks?
tie him to a courtroom for weeks at a time when he'd otherwise be on the campaign trail.
Or the golf course.
This is all a strategy by the Democrats and the judges letting them
gibberish.
Get away with it.
Nope.
There's a headline in Forbes, this called for too, said, could Trump be jailed at Rikers Island for contempt in the New York case? Experts say it's possible. Now, that could just be clickbait, but...
It is. Also, the reason they say at Rikers is because that's where you go.
I mean, let's answer the question here. I guess, is that within the realm of possibility?
Yes. Yes, it is. Not because the level of contempt that a normal person would show, but because Trump is trying to push this shit. And if somebody around him convinces him that being thrown in jail overnight would actually help him, then he'll do it. But I got to tell you, he does not get he does not feel shame at all, but he does get embarrassed, and this would be embarrassing. Oh shit! Yeah. Look at that. Sorry, my bad. Real quick. Boink. Boink. Sorry. There you go. It's paper doll time. Sorry, go ahead. You were saying, ma'am, something about Donald Trump being a good guy and only knowing the best people and hanging out with folks all the time, and something good about being, a fine, upstanding citizen or some shit.
Well, Dana, the sentence statutorily is $1,000 and up to 30 days in jail for each offense. That doesn't mean the judge has to impose it. That's the potential statutory sentence. I think that this case is so driven by politics, they understand that putting Trump in jail, even though Trump obviously doesn't want to spend 5 minutes in jail, even with the Secret Service coming along with him, but putting him in would be a catastrophe for the Democrats, I think, in terms of the politics of the election. It would be such overkill for this ridiculous case that I think it would really redound to their detriment. I think the judge knows that. So I think this is all going to be about how many times can we fine a billionaire $1,000 for transgressing a ridiculous.
Or how many times can a billionaire flex the idea that he has a bunch of other people's money to pay fines when the rest of us would just go to fucking jail, when the average citizen would not have access to that kind of money and would just go to jail for the same fucking behavior, especially if they put the lives of the jurors or the lives of court staff in jeopardy.
Gag order.
Again, why does this motherfucker get a pass the rest of us wouldn't? Like life is some sort of odd popularity contest. Imagine saying this about Reverend Some Young Moon, or saying this about fucking David Koresh or Charles Manson, for fuck's sake. I mean, the guy's got a lot of followers, and the judge is just trying to keep him from going on tour.
The irony is, if they sent him to Rikers, which for a lot of viewers, if you don't know about this prison, it's
the kind of thing you see in episodes of Law and Order.
horrendous.
Right.
It's on an
As it kind of should be, I think. I mean, considering who goes
island
there,
near the airport of LaGuardia.
By the way, notice how these assholes don't give a fuck about prison conditions until it's him or Jan Sixers that are in there, and then all of a sudden they're just up in arms. Oh my God, the food.
And Trump would see his former accountant there, Alan Weisselberg, who's now in Rikers for the second time.
Right. Pled guilty.
At age 76, Andy.
Well, that's just because they didn't catch him earlier, you dumb motherfucker. Why? Sorry. Am I supposed to feel bad for Bill Cosby and not for his victims because they didn't catch him until he was too old to get a boner without pills anymore? The fuck are you talking about? How about Harvey Weinstein? Am I supposed to feel bad they didn't catch him, for him because they didn't catch him in the fucking 90s when he was ruining Annabella Sciorra's fucking career and life? Get the fuck out of here. Just because you dodge this shit? I mean, at a certain point, is my heart supposed to break for like Nazi camp guards that were arrested when they were 96 years old? Fuck them.
So we'll see what the judge decides.
Another very serious criminal.
Right.
Not one of those ones doing that unserious stuff at Hamilton Hall or, breaking down the campuses.
Yeah, hold.
Right. So what he's saying, this is the fine legal mind of Andrew McCarthy, Donald Trump's one of his favorites, who, by the way, has at least admitted that Donald Trump is flouting the law, but to his mind, he should just pay the fucking fine and have a kiss my ass card because he's rich that the rest of us schlubs shouldn't get. Fuck you, dude. But on top of that, he thinks that people who are protesting on college campuses are the real criminals, and Alan Weisselberg, who, by the way, cheated more than likely the parents and the friends of the parents of a lot of those kids that went to that college out of the potential for getting loans they deserved or buying property they could have bought and turned into something worth a fuck because he helped Donald Trump get loans he didn't deserve and get cut in line ahead of them. That motherfucker, we're supposed to feel bad for.
This is the second time. Right.
Right. Andy, thank you.
This is the second time that you got a prosecutor who won't prosecute. He puts this guy in twice.
Yeah. Andy.
Yeah.
Thank you. We'll see what happens in court now.
I have some predictions. Trump will fall asleep, fart, and then lose. And he won't do jail time in this trial, but he will pay an enormous fine. And then afterwards, he will be a convicted felon. And he'll be a convicted felon that got a pass in a case where other people would have gone to jail. And the voters can take that into account when they vote for him. This guy got to get out of jail free card because he's a second generation rich kid from Manhattan that none of these motherfuckers who are standing at his rallies would ever get. I'm kidding. Matt Gaetz, obviously.
1 hour and 14 minutes into today. Thank you, Andy. Talk soon.
And just saying for the record, don't wear a green dress. This bright. I wore a green shirt earlier, and somebody was like, "Hal should know better than to wear a green shirt." I'll have you know that A, it was partially see-through, and B, it was a dark green. It's the bright. I got to tell you, it's this green. Hold on. When it's that green. Hold on. Whoops. Close. Where are we? Take this one. There you go. This level green, you see, you don't let that. Just saying. Do not wear that bright green. It's too easy to cut out. Stupid. And the idea that it's like one of the hot colors right now in New York. Hey, Fashion Week, stop it. You don't know what you're doing. Do not bring back green screen green, dummy. And if you don't believe me, watch this. I'll show you why. Here's why you don't do it, okay? Let me center this in so everybody can understand what's going on. This is why you absolutely do not use green of a specific color when you're doing this kind of stuff, okay? You want to see? That's why. Right. Just saying. The great Haldini. That's right. Why the fuck? How it's stupid. Stupid dummies. In the meantime, let's see. We got on time. Okay, we got 5 minutes left. Okay. All right, we'll end on this one because I don't think we'll get through either one of these all the way through. This is moments. You ever see a movie? Like the opening of Inglourious Bastards is one where you see a character sitting across from someone and they're nervous about this person because they don't quite know where they are, and they think maybe this person's on my side, maybe they're not. And then at one point, you see pass over the person's face like, oh dear God, I've made a terrible mistake. I need to get the fuck out of here. Right? We've all seen a scene in a movie like that. Yes? Collateral is another movie where, when you realize that Tom Cruise with silver hair is in your backseat and you're like, it's not going to end well. How about I let you have the cab and I'll just leave? Right? Okay. Been there in real life. Yes, Mark, as have I. So, yeah. So, I think we're about to see a similar moment right here. This is a clip from Roseanne's show entitled Only Drug I Hadn't Tried with Greg Gutfeld, where Roseanne is drinking from something. He's dressed like he's at his own commencement, and then there's a giant thing of pills between them. There's no way this ends well. And this is from the episode Roseanne Barr Podcast number 44, Gutfeld, the King of Late Night. By the way, he's not on late at night. He's on early in the evening. And that's why he's got higher ratings than the late night shows, because they call it late night even though he's on earlier. And the reason he's got higher ratings is because he's on earlier. Late night is always competing for the last people awake, especially on the East Coast. That's how it works. So, anyways, here we go. He's on at like fucking 7 o'clock. East Coast, or 8 and 9 o'clock East Coast time. Everybody else is on at like 10, 11 or midnight after the local news.
I mean, I'm not trying to be a fanboy or everything, but come on, you're Roseanne Barr.
Oh, he's gonna sleep with her.
Oh, you're probably the most successful female comedian in 50 years, maybe longer.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably like stand up.
Stand up.
Yep. But I don't really know because Amy Schumer.
Yeah, who's Joan Rivers though?
She says she is because she's done the movies. So she did like movies. So she says she's the most successful female stand up. But I'm like, yeah, but we mean funny.
Yes.
Mom, you're so funny. Oh, this is my dream gig. Laughing at my mom's jokes.
You know, Amy, yeah, I like Amy. I'm going to pull that out. What was that line? Like,
nobody cares.
They said about John F. Kennedy to Dan Quayle. Was it Al Gore? Like,
what?
I like Amy Schumer. You're great, but you're no John.
You're no. I knew John F. Kennedy. You're no John F. Kennedy. That's this. What he's saying is to Amy Schumer. I know Roseanne. You're no Roseanne. That's kind of where he's going with this.
John F. Kennedy. Yeah, she's no Roseanne Barr, but
right, there we go. Thank God, because she's not insane.
Nobody is. No.
Well, including Roseanne.
Nobody is.
Oh, you're
not anymore.
So sweet. You know, when I'm really drunk, I really will agree with you.
Yeah, when I'm drunk, I laugh at you.
There. When I'm really drunk and I start going off to my son, these people, but try not to go there to the edge, because you.
Yeah, these people. What would be the edge of a phrase where you find yourself saying these people, like in the you people zone of things, or?
Said you quit drinking.
Yes.
By the way, Kate McKinnon, Kristen Wiig, the enormous. I mean, Jesus Christ. I don't think she's ever watched 30 Rock, so or Only Murders for that matter.
Yes, I stopped. It was the only drug I hadn't tried was sobriety. I'd done
the only drug I hadn't tried was sobriety.
Everything, and it was getting harder and harder to get anything out of it. And I'm
really, that's weird. Of drugs, you mean?
Going like, what about this thing where you don't do anything? And then it was amazing. It is. I'm.
You mean the way I've lived my entire life, you goofy fuck?
Literally, and I hate to say this because it's
because you look like a Weasley wiener, and you've got a voice of a Weasley wiener, and you're afraid it'll make you look like a Weasley wiener. Too late.
Sounds like a hippie thing, but I'm high. Like when I get up in the morning because I've never had mornings before. Like
Yeah.
I get up and I'm like, it's
I
7
feel good.
I feel good. What is this thing? There used to be all these problems I had. Like I was like, usually I'd be depressed or anxious, and all that stuff. It might still pop up here and there, but it's
Yeah, usually when you're on the air, I think.
amazing.
Tina Fey. Oh, Tina Day. I was like, Tina Fey, you mean?
A lot of that moodiness and weirdness and
Right. The stuff that you've built your career on.
ambivalence kind of like drifted away, and I'm actually interested in things. I didn't quit drinking because I thought, like, what would I do with all that time? And it turns out you can do a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You can do like weird things, like go for walks. I would never go for a walk. I thought that walking was for losers.
This is a great bit. This is yeah, I'd work. I mean, workshop this. This is rock solid. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, this is I mean, this is your, I can't tell if this is your opener or your closer. It's just going for walks instead of drinking thing. Kills.
Like, what are you going to walk to? Are you going for a walk? How stupid is that? And
yeah, I know, right? I mean, what's going on with walks? You know, with people walking.
Now
because you'd rather be sitting there drinking and chatting, but it's about chatting, isn't it?
You know what it
is? No, he's alone, Roseanne.
It's like drinking was about being with your thoughts.
Yeah.
And work and hypothesizing. Like, it's almost like beta testing the future.
It
like,
is that.
You know,
Yeah,
and I love doing that. But at the same time, it's like I was also just avoiding things. And I was
yes, all our lives were a lot better when you were avoiding things.
As I got more and older, I was just becoming more antisocial. Like, I was no longer drinking with other people.
Look at this motherfucker drinking from, like, mini bar liquor right in front of this motherfucker. What? And this is almost funny. Like, as a punchline, that works because it's a tiny little fucking bottle. Good Lord.
I would
like, they're not even referencing it. Like, whoever's cutting this together is the only funny person in that whole fucking room. Whoever's running this, whatever fucking Malaysian assistant they have hired through, one of those like assistant programs that edits her show together, is a genius. The comedic timing on that alone was fucking brilliant. And that was an insert. They shot that days later.
I was like, I'm not going to go to a bar. I have to wait for a waiter. I have to wait for a bartender. There are other people there. I just go home, get a bottle of wine. So it just became more isolational, and I decided, you know what?
Yeah, when things become isolational, that's the problem. That's the thing about alcohol. It's very isolational.
What I got,
isolation easy. Isolationalist. Yeah, that's what it is. I forget what word it is because I don't care.
It's time. 2024 is coming up. I got to be ready.
Yeah, you
got to be ready. What? To watch Trump lose again?
There's a big fight.
Yeah.
But did you get sober?
Yeah, neither of you are in the fight, dum-dum. He's just a crass shock jock, like a failed shock jock who's scooping up the ashes on a couple of slots at Fox News that gives him an automatic fucking bump because of the size of the network, not because of the value of his programming. And you have totally fucking smoked the script.
Or did you just quit drinking?
I got sober. I mean, I didn't go to any rehab. I just it's a click went off in my head, and I just been thinking about it.
So an aneurysm? That explains a lot.
I've been thinking about it for a while, but I always put it off.
Right, like being funny. Yeah, we're still waiting for you to get around to that shit.
And then for some reason, I just decided, that's it. And that was it. And then I've been like, do
you think it's because also you got so busy? I mean, you're doing this show and you can't.
Yeah, busy people never start using drugs. That's the thing, especially busy comedians. The more you work, you'll notice that a lot of comedians, once they really start working on the regular, that's when they really stop doing drugs and drinking. It's the busyness that drives them. What the fuck are you talking about?
Feel bad.
I'm too busy to be on drugs or drunk. Are you kidding me?
You have to be able to produce, the work and
Exactly.
feel good.
Exactly. And you have
So is that why you don't tour anymore, Roseanne?
to kind of be able to not put all your shit on other people. And when
Isn't that what your entire show is?
you're drinking, you do.
That's true.
And
Well, yeah, she does. Absolutely.
it's just like,
Ask her son. That's why he's sitting in a corner drinking as her sidekick.
if you're not feeling well, then no one else is either. And
I don't know. I kind of enjoy it when you're not feeling well. It's a little sad, but it's true.
I just had to maybe if I just tried this other drug,
sobriety,
what would happen? And then all of a sudden it's like things are pretty good. But it was always the fear of what the rest of your life is like if you.
By the way, I would like to point out in this conversation that I, as someone who has never done drugs and never drank and never will and have no interest in doing it, that in watching these people talk about it, I'm totally cool with them talking about, not doing something that they may have done to excess that might do them harm. But I would also like to point out that these people are fucking assholes to Hunter Biden all the time. Just saying. Just I'd like to point that out. That in this whole conversation, the biggest irony, the ghost of irony that is haunting this whole fucking conversation is how these motherfuckers shit talk Hunter Biden all the time based on shit he did while he was under the influence of drugs. Just for the record. I don't want that to be lost in this absolute dog shit conversation where he's trying to pat himself on the back for being too busy to drink. Dr. Don, calm down. Caffeine as a stimulant, coffee and the like is not the same thing as mind-altering drugs that shift your mood. Caffeine does not alter your mood. And that is one of the very big distinctions. It's the same thing as sugar. Is sugar technically a drug? Yes and no. Does it give you more energy temporarily? Is that what the qualification is? Maybe. But do we categorize them as such? No. If caffeine was a controlled substance, I wouldn't do it. For that reason alone. Yeah, caffeine just fools your brain into thinking it's had sleep. And as a matter of fact, you have to mitigate it, actually. Caffeine alters your mood, and you love it. It alters the way my bowels work a little bit. Or is that just the coffee part? Is it not the caffeine? It's just the coffee part.
Quit. Well, you can always start back.
That's what I tell myself.
Yeah.
That's how I could quit smoking. I swear to God, because I'm like, you can stop a while and then start again if you really want to.
You just don't. The line is you don't drink for today. I don't drink today. Who knows what'll happen tomorrow? And then tomorrow I'll say, well, I don't drink then. And then all of a sudden you start racking up the days.
Yeah.
And pretty soon you got.
Gee, it's almost like how all habits are built.
Months and then years. I'm not at years yet, but we'll see.
How long are you at? It seems like you're liking it and feeling good.
I'm into my 8th month.
That's good.
Yeah.
Really? That's it? No, it explains a lot. Because when I was on Red Eye, it would explain a lot that this motherfucker was drunk or high all the time. Because he was a miserable son of a bitch. He still seems like he's a miserable son of a bitch. That's the irony.
Yeah.
But maybe that's the business model, right? Maybe he just stacks all of his misery in one place.
So it's good. But things are going well. I am busy.
What's it like to,
what's it like to be successful on a network that no one watches during an hour where everyone else is watching something else in the age of streaming? Also, some people are asking what I'm drinking. I'm drinking Hoist, which is got no caffeine in it, for the record. It's like it's a Gatorade-like drink with a lot less sugar in it, if any at all. It had very little sugar in it. The carb count on it is very low. It has a decent amount of calcium, though. So that's what that's this, just for the record. Most days, if I'm not drinking something out of a can, that's what I'm having. So there you go.
Because
this is not an ad.
Talking before. It's such a cultural shift, and nobody's talking about it.
I ordered it off Amazon, Korean 68. I saw it because it was like, because of my shoulder issue, I was like, I always go back when I'm injured or if I have a health concern. I always go back while I still treat it using whatever reasonable medical measures there are, I also look at the baseline. Am I getting enough sleep? Is my food good? And am I hydrated? Because a lot of it's just water and sleep can solve a lot of things. It won't solve everything, but it can also help create a nest under which you can heal very well. And so one of the things that I recognized is that if I was having an issue, when I was having an issue with my shoulder and when I injured myself, I was like, you know what? It might be my hydration, just because the amount of work I'm doing and the kind of work I'm doing now is very different from how I normally live. And I'm doing a lot of time, at that time I was sitting especially, but I was like, as I've been standing up doing the show, I'm static. I try to move around doing the show, as you'll see, on purpose, so that I'm, consistently engaging my body. But standing here doing the show for hours at a time will have an impact, for better or worse, on my body. And therefore, I'm trying to make sure that it has everything it needs to accomplish it. That's all. And so, yeah.
Because they don't want to talk about anything real or anything that.
Yeah, they don't know anything real, like being in, is that a 5-star hotel you're in? It is, isn't it?
They don't want to
She's in New York. She's in New York at a 5-star hotel.
define what's really happening. But it's a huge cultural shift that a conservative comedy show, and it is really well written and really
No, it is not
funny. And I like that comics can say things on there and they don't have to
be funny. It's a safe space for comedians to come on and not actually be funny, to just be mean without punchlines. It's such a relief.
Act like goons.
Yes.
What are you talking about? It's in the contract. You can't be on Gutfeld's show unless you come on and act like a goon.
They aren't dancing with hypodermic needles and shit like that. But
that must be a bit they're referencing on something else.
You're saying something, and it's a cultural shift because it's more to the conservative side. And these guys,
first of all, no, he lifts jokes from Crowder all the fucking time. They've got a way bigger audience. Crowder's an asshole, but he's got a much bigger audience. I think he's lost his mind and there's some drift going on there, and I don't care. But Crowder's had a much bigger audience than Gutfeld will ever have, and that's where he gets a lot of his bullshit from. He just basically lifts it from Crowder episodes.
And they're just drowning in unfunny.
And they're scared.
Mm-hmm.
They're scared.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, I would say that, me and the sexy liberals, we're just terrified. I'm terrified. I gotta say, doing the sexy liberal comedy tour, as successful as it is, and being picked up by Live Nation as we are, and we're coming to Madison, Wisconsin next, and then Albuquerque, and of course Seattle right after that, and on throughout it, and of course stacking on. It's even more terrifying that we're adding Nerd Halen dates on either side of them, either on the Friday night before or the Sunday afterwards. That just my thing is, I'm terrified when I do that show that in my 20-minute set, I will not have enough time to cram the hour's worth of material that I have. Just saying.
I do think it all came down to speech, because think about the shift.
Yeah, well, it's certainly not about punchlines or comedy or anything like that. It's just speech. If you can just get on Fox and talk, and they deliver a certain level of audience to you, and people grudge watch your show to just guarantee it's got numbers, then you're kind of set, I guess.
The fact that you're no longer in this camp, and the show is successful, and they all have something in common. It's the freedom to say what you want. And once the left and liberals gave that up, we snatched it.
Yeah,
Yeah, you totally did. Yeah. The freedom to be able to talk without trying to be funny. Oh, it's so relaxing.
Yeah, we snatched it and we ran with it.
Right. You certainly didn't build anything funny with it.
And you can tell how uncomfortable comedians of the left are when they know that there's a line they can't cross.
Right. Well, yeah, there is a line where we won't get into, say, just being straight up racist. Yeah, I will admit that if I ever found myself coming close to a line of going, oh, fuck, I almost said something bigoted, that would concern me. I wouldn't relax into that. Yeah, That's true. It must be completely freeing to know that you can walk right over the racist line and not be burdened with actually being funny.
Meanwhile, you and I, we can say whatever we want.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, right after this, they left, got in a cab, went to Harlem, and said whatever they wanted. Oh, they didn't. No, they just left and didn't say anything like that. They just okay.
And we share the risk. You get in trouble.
Yeah, we do.
You get in trouble. I will defend you. If I get in trouble, I know you will. But I mean, you know what I mean? It's like,
no one knows what you mean. In trouble for what? What's going to get you in trouble, dum-dum?
We understand that we're here to say what we think. And if that goes away, what's left to do?
Then
well, again, this is what edge comics always fucking think, is that it's enough to just make the audience uncomfortable, and maybe you'll get some laughs because you said something people dare not say, instead of actually fucking writing some jokes. I was talking about Steven Crowder, not Trey Crowder. Yes, that is correct. I'm talking. They don't take jokes from Trey Crowder. Steven Crowder is the guy that Gutfeld rips off. Just saying.
Will be unfunny.
Yeah.
You know what? It is like that we have the right to punch up and they don't.
Yeah.
What? What do you mean punch up? At black people and Jews and poor people? What do you mean punch up?
They got to the ceiling. It's kind of like a glass ceiling or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, they get up to the glass ceiling and we're like, we didn't want to punch up to the glass ceiling. Hillary might get
Other kind of ceiling where they cannot punch up.
Is this asshole going to pretend that he understands what the fuck she's talking about? Look at him. Look at him. He's about to go, yes, that's right.
Because they're too scared.
What does that mean?
Scared, but then they have to punch down.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm having a brain cramp. So let me get this straight. Comedians on my side of the aisle get to the glass ceiling that's above us, and we're afraid to punch through the glass ceiling, which is anecdotally or allegorically a thing that shouldn't be there, something everyone can see through but you can't get through. Punching through breaking the glass ceiling is something that benefits everyone who's trapped underneath it, in theory. But we get close to it and we get so scared we just punch down at the Roseannes of the world. So is that what I'm doing? So the idea is that I on the Sexy Liberal Comedy Tour, according to Roseanne, I am so afraid of punching through the glass ceiling that I punch down at Donald Trump, a second-generation billionaire who's got over 20 sexual assault allegations against him, most of them incredibly credible, was buddies with Jeffrey Epstein for over 2.5 decades and only broke it off with him because of a real estate deal, because he gives more of a shit about the money he was going to make on a piece of property than the fact that Epstein was fucking like high school girls and got a key to the fucking jail. Right? But that's me punching down. Not me making fun of Gutfeld and his stupid ass show, or Trump is me punching down. Just to be clear.
And it's never funny to punch down. I mean, sometimes it is. Down.
Yeah.
And it's never funny to punch down. I mean, sometimes it is.
I don't. I mean, it's one of those situations where I could absolutely make this up. But if I did, I would tear up the piece of paper it's on and throw it in the fucking garbage because it's absurd.
They accuse
if you're fat or drunk or something.
They accuse
if you're fat or drunk or something, you can punch down.
Us of punching down when we go after any kind of identity group
that you're not a part of and you're better off than. You mean like Like you could be a drunk and show up at work drunk and be married, and none of those things will endanger the other for yourself. But a gay person, you don't believe they should have the right to get married. Fuck them, right? Is the idea that, and you can punch down at them because they have too much power because they're making you feel uncomfortable because they want the same rights as you.
Which I believe is punching up.
I do too.
Because any
What? Wait.
after any kind of identity group, which I believe is punching up.
I do too.
Because anybody that professes that they have a higher, I don't know, they.
Oh my God, Michael, thank you so much. Never, but sometimes, yeah. Good Lord.
They have rights because they're victims.
Well, that
They're
they have
above
the high moral ground when they don't.
Yes. And so, like, they go, how dare you? You know, I do a lot of stuff on trans, and they go, you're punching down. I go, no, I'm not. They have more rights now.
No, they don't. What do you mean they have more rights? Look, never mind the fact that if Greg Gutfeld competed in sports against most women, he would lose right out of the gate. But this is just seriously disgusting. The fuck, right, BJ Kodak, absolutely. This is, yeah.
According to the left.
That's right.
No, they don't have more rights according to the left. We recognize that they're on the downside of society all the time. We're not giving them protected status. We're just trying to even the playing field. And you think that because they're equal, they're above you because they should be below you. This motherfucker. He thinks people are getting an unfair head start if they're equal to him in any way because they should be below him.
I mean, if a man can go swimming against women in college sports, I think he has more rights.
Well, a man against girls.
All right. That's not the vast majority of trans people. That's another thing that has to be adjudicated on its own, but that is not about trans rights in general. And the idea that if somebody does do that, if you can self-identify, and in some situations you're allowed to self-identify and you use that to your advantage, that does not mean you're trans. You could just be a straight person using that, which is why the rules about self-identifying need to be tighter so that people can't take advantage of it in the same way that Rachel Dolezal is not black. Black people are not to blame because of the Rachel Dolezals of the world.
Exactly.
And it's like, so to me, it's like such a continuation of the worst of patriarchy that you could come to.
Do you know?
But they don't even see it because they're
Yes, now she cares about the patriarchy.
so brainwashed because the left really thinks it controls thought and language.
Do we? I was always wondering.
And so all they do is vomit up meaningless bullshit that nobody thinks is funny.
Huh. That's weird because I gotta say that's what it looked like you guys were doing for the last 8 minutes and 22 seconds. You see? That's it. So, that's the state, if I may, ladies and gentlemen, of political comedy on the right and the root of their belief system. So every joke that Roseanne tells, every joke that Greg Gutfeld tells is emblematic of that thought form. That's what's lurking back behind their fucking eyeballs every time they like, are coming up with a bit or they're writing something or they're putting a show together. That's the stuff that's like fighting for dominance in the conversation to them. And they feel, oddly enough, justified in doing this. This is the primary driving force. Now, granted, I will say, Gutfeld doesn't write jokes. He has a staff that writes jokes, and he just wants them to be sufficiently mean so he, feels like he's macho while he says them. And Roseanne, I don't know why she certainly does not tour doing stand-up anymore. I haven't seen her, out doing a date in ages. Maybe she does. If she does, I'd totally go and see what the fuck's going on. But it seems to reek of the kind of like Nick DiPaolo, Dennis Miller, just angry, farting out of your face, Like, "Yeah, I'm saying the stuff that you guys aren't allowed to say. And I expect clapter in return, which is one of my big pet peeves in comedy. Is clapter, where, you know, the idea is that instead of laughing, people are like, that is so true. And they do a light chuckle, but it's more about clapping. No, it should be funny. And that's what matters. That's the standard. Please let Pi in on the Inside Sparkler jokes. Oh, I will. I'll teach Pi all the jokes. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks very much, Barbie. All right, that's the end of the show. Thank you guys so much. Radio tomorrow, and then, of course, I've got Nerd Halen tomorrow night. Very exciting. And then that kicks off a series of weeks where I've got shows and shows and shows and shows and shows. I've like, well, technically, like one ebb, and then everything kicks off into a lot of stuff. So, sorry, staff chat. I'll look. Staff chat will always be staff chat to me. Good old staff chat. Okay. What I miss on? Heather, Nancy Pelosi, known forever as the greatest speaker in the House of American history. Oh, she got the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Yes. Chad is saying audio is loud on video. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I fixed that thing. I'm fairly certain. Shut up. That's the theme song to Roseanne. Sorry about that. But I will see you guys tomorrow. Philip Bittner will be joining us in the second hour, and we got a lot of regular news to cover, so that's the time when I do it. So the House Parks Radio program, Megaworldwide, every Saturday, 9 a.m. Pacific time, 11 Central, and Johnny Million will be joining us, as well as our dear friend Philip Bittner, and I will see you then. Until then, take care of yourself and take care of somebody else, and take care of Pi. She's very delicate this time of year.